Let's go Broncos! The energy in Broncos territory is at an all-time high right now because the roster is taking shape in a way that feels different. It feels dangerous. Sean Payton and George Payton aren't just collecting names. They're building a system, a culture, and now they may have found two undrafted weapons who can legitimately challenge for roster spots and even shake up the offensive scheme. You know what time it is. Hit that like button and leave a comment. Go Broncos! I'm Super Bowl confident. Let's start with the headline. Your Denver Broncos just signed Kaiser White, a shifty, fearless, high-motor slot receiver who might be the sneakiest addition to the 90-man roster all offseason. And what makes this even better? He didn't just go undrafted. He didn't even get an undrafted free agent contract. No, he got passed over by every team and was invited to rookie minicamp on a tryout basis. Do you know how rare it is to survive that gauntlet and earn a contract? This guy earned his spot, and now he's officially a Bronco heading into training camp. White played at Utah State after transferring from Utah, where, yes, Broncos W.R. Devin Vele and even Tim Patrick came through. The pipeline is real, and now, at 5 feet 10 inches, 186 pounds, Kaiser White steps in as something the Broncos desperately needed, a true slot receiver. You watch the tape, and it jumps off the screen. He's slippery, smart, and quick in tight spaces. He can motion in and out, find soft zones, and create separation on short routes. He's the perfect complement to the bigger body guys like Pat Bryant and Cortland Sutton, and he's a guy Bo Nix could develop real trust with fast. And oh yeah, he's fast. At his pro day, White ran a 4.56 unofficial 40, which led all participants at Utah State's event, and then followed that up with 20 reps on the bench press. For a guy under 190 pounds, that's absurd strength. And based on what we saw in practice, he's already being looked at as a potential return specialist. Pair him with Marvin Mims back there on punts or kickoffs, and you've got speed and shiftiness that can flip the field on any given play. And then there's Wayne Davis. You want upside? Here it is. Davis is a 6 feet 4 inches wide receiver with a freakish 42-inch vertical and a 4.34 40 time. Let me say that again. He's 6 feet 4 inches, runs 4.3, and jumps over 42 inches. He's not a polished route runner, and coaches will tell you he's raw, but this is the kind of athleticism you can't teach. You know who throws one of the best deep balls in this rookie class? Bo Nix. Now imagine him flicking 145 yards downfield to a guy who can literally climb the sky and bring it down over defenders. It's a matchup nightmare waiting to happen. What makes this even more telling is who the Broncos didn't pursue. Lil Jordan Humphrey re-signed with the Giants, and Denver didn't even put in a claim. That's not because they didn't have room. It's because they already feel really good about the guys they just brought in. These aren't desperation signings. These are evaluated, intentional pieces for Sean Payton's vision. And that vision is built on diversity, in body type, in play style, in usage. You've got Mims as the burner. Sutton is the possession alpha. Pat Bryant is the route technician. Vele is the crafty outside guy. Now White is your slot pest and Davis is your basketball bounce threat. That's how you build a WR room that can stress any defense and, more importantly, match up with any opponent. But let's zoom out and talk about how this ties into the bigger picture, because things are aligning beautifully for the Broncos going into 2024. The Bengals, who we may be facing week 1 on Monday Night Football, are imploding defensively. Trey Hendrickson wants out. Their first 2 picks on defense are already holding out of camp over injury guarantees. That unit is reeling, and they're notorious for starting slow. Meanwhile, Sean Payton has Bo Nix operating ahead of schedule, the run game locked in with R.J. Harvey, and the best defense in football. According to Bleacher Report, that's not a dream, that's a plan. And if you believe the leaks, the NFL knows it too. Word is the Broncos could be in line for up to 6 primetime games. From just 2 a year ago to the max allowed? That's not just a schedule bump, that's a statement. And speaking of statements, let's clear the air on something. An anonymous NFL scout called our running back room the biggest weakness on the roster. Let's be honest, if that's our biggest concern, we're in phenomenal shape. Sean Payton could have signed any of the free agent backs on the market. J.K. Dobbins, Nick Chubb, Travis Etienne, even Najee Harris was floated. He passed on all of them. Why? Because he believes in R.J. Harvey. He believes in Audric Estime. He believes in Blake Watson. And he believes in what this offense can do when everyone stays healthy and explosive. Remember, the Broncos were top 10 in scoring last year and had the number 3 defense. That was with inconsistent QB play, injuries at key spots, and a rotating offensive line. Now, they've got continuity. They've got depth. They've got elite coaching. And they've got belief. So let's hear it. Broncos country, who's the player you're most excited about in this next wave of signings? Is Kaiser White the slot receiver we've been waiting for? Does Wayne Davis shock the league in camp and become the next UDFA to make noise? What do you think this WR room looks like come week 1? Drop your full 6-man WR prediction in the comments. Hit that like button if you believe Sean Payton has nailed this offseason. Subscribe so you don't miss the breakdown we've got coming up next. An all-22 deep dive on Kaiser White's college tape and why his footwork might be the best on the team right now. The roster is taking shape. The league is on notice. And Denver, we're coming. And here's where it gets really fun, Broncos country, because when you take a step back and look at how Sean Payton is stacking this roster, especially with undrafted guys like Kaiser White and Wayne Davis, you realize something big. This isn't just about filling out a 90-man camp roster. This is about weaponizing every single spot, about creating maximum versatility, keeping defenses guessing, and building a team that doesn't just survive the grind of a 17-game season, it thrives in it. Let's dive deeper into the implications of signing Kaiser White. We're not just talking about a gadget slot receiver here. We're talking about a guy who could challenge Troy Franklin or Devon Vele for meaningful reps if he keeps trending the way insiders say he is. And the reason is simple, fit. White is a timing-based separator. That means he wins with route precision, not just raw athleticism. And when you've got a quarterback like Bo Nix, who thrives in rhythm and needs targets who hit their landmarks at exactly the right moment, guys like White become invaluable. Think about what Julian Edelman was to Tom Brady, or what Lance Moore was to Drew Brees in this exact system. White can be that guy, and that's why it's no accident Payton brought him in. This is how he works. He doesn't chase hype. He chases fit, football IQ, and toughness. And let's be real, Kaiser White checks every box. He's not just flashy in space. He blocks. He's physical. He's already won over coaches with how quickly he picked up the playbook during rookie camp. That's how you earn a jersey. Now, Wayne Davis is a totally different story, and that's what makes this so intriguing. You've got White bringing that low center of gravity shiftiness. Then you've got Davis, a 6'4" vertical threat with 4.3 speed and a freakish 42 vertical. That's a red zone nightmare. That's a boundary X receiver prototype that corners hate to line up against because they can't match the frame or the catch radius. And yeah, he's raw. He's not going to step in and run Payton's full route tree tomorrow. But here's what you have to consider. Asterisk what happens when you line Davis up next to Pat Bryant, Marvin Mims, or Cortland Sutton and he only has to run 1 or 2 routes per game? Asterisk deep overs, go balls, back shoulder fades. You don't need him to do it all. You just need him to stress the defense. Think about this. If Davis forces a safety to cheat his side because of his downfield threat, it opens up space for Ingram underneath, for R.J. Harvey in the flats, and for Mims to work across the middle. That's not theory. That's tactical pressure. That's what Sean Payton has built his career on. And let's take a second to talk about how rare this opportunity is. Most teams aren't giving UDFAs like Davis and White real looks. They're camp legs, bodies to fill out the depth chart, but not in Denver. Not this year. The Broncos have a real history of finding stars from the undrafted pool. Chris Harris Jr., Philip Lindsay, Shaq Barrett. And now, with Payton in charge, you're going to see even more. Because Payton doesn't care where you were drafted. He cares how you compete. And that brings us back to this core theme. Pressure. Every player on this roster is being challenged. Sutton, playing for his next contract. Mims, expected to break out. Vele and Sherfield, fighting for WR5. Ingram, new system, high expectations. Bryant, called the next Michael Thomas, you better show up like it. And now here come White and Davis, 2 guys with nothing to lose and everything to prove. That's how you build a team that goes from up and coming to dangerous. And